All right. Oh, wow, this is loud. Hello, everyone. My name is Kirill Bondar. I lead the Federal Financial Solution Architecture team for regulators at AWS. And over the next 15 minutes or so, and during this lunch break, I'm going to throw some tongue twisters at you. So my demonstration today is going to focus on a multimodal and multi-model application, and we're going to showcase how it all stitches together. I'm personally very excited about this because this is kind of the next evolution of generative AI applications that we're seeing in the field. And it's really showing the complexity and sophistication that we can bring with generative AI into some of the workflows that traditionally are very intensive, especially from a development coding standpoint. With generative AI, you can now describe the functions, you can describe what you're looking to accomplish, and it makes that barrier from dev to production, it compresses a lot of that time and makes applications more accurate. But of course, as always, and Justin kind of alluded to some of this, is you always want to have that human in the loop to validate the results to make sure that the model is functioning correctly and the output is correct as well. So first and foremost, what is multimodal and multi-model? So when talking about multimodal, we're talking about the types of data that we're presenting into our work stream. So let's talk about, in this case, I'll talk a little bit about data, structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, but also the types and formats that we're presenting this data in. So let's just say a PDF form. Well, you have a PDF file, you most likely have some fields, you have some text that's filled out, and you have somewhat of a structure to it. Hopefully that form doesn't change for a long time, so you have some predictability to it, so you can extract data from it much quicker. Then you can have semi-structured data, like let's say in my example shortly, I'll show you a driver's license. Well, semi-structured, we know what to expect from a driver's license. However, different states have different formats. They use different terminology and so forth. And of course, some of the positioning of that data is different across different states. And finally, let's talk about images, charts, graphs, videos. Justin alluded in the prior presentation that it is now possible. We're getting closer and closer with these models to being able to throw a mix of data at these applications and extract data more accurately, more precise. And of course, with the confidence score combined, you can include or flag your business analysts or your teams to review that data to ensure that if there is some anomaly that's detected in that data, we're able to have a manual interaction with that data. Now, multi-model. Why is that important? Well, there isn't one model to rule them all. As much as we want to, there are some models that are better at certain things. There are other models that are faster, maybe more cost effective. So what we're seeing in actual production use is you want to validate the model that you choose based on your organization's requirements and your organization's risk tolerance, your organization's cost tolerance, right? Your budget, as well as of course, performance, right? So those are some of the variables. We can throw a lot more variables into that decision matrix and how you evaluate the model that's used. But what we're seeing is that some models are faster at summarizing. Some models are better at extracting information out of the data. Some are better at working with images or generating graphs. So some of these applications and what we're seeing as we continue on the generative AI journey together, we're seeing our customers starting to experiment with, okay, we're going to use, let's say, Haiku for summarization. We're going to use Sonnet for some of the more complex tasks. We're going to use Cohere because it's a smaller, faster model, maybe more cost effective. So we're seeing all of that. And of course, Bedrock enables you to really tune in and fine tune as well as play with different models as you develop your applications. So multimodal, multi-model. Now, when it comes to generative AI applications or generative applications, there's a conversation of orchestrating all of this. So traditional applications, and we've I think we at this point have been exposed to it in one way or another for a better part of like 2.5 years. But your traditional applications with LLM are very much like chat-based, directional. You have a path forward, and you're kind of going along the path. Hopefully, the developers of the application have laid out that path, and if you don't deviate from that path, you arrive to the conclusion, to the goal of the application. With the evolution of generative AI and generative applications, what we're seeing is a development of what we're referring to as function calling here, where now the orchestration of the functions and in the order that those functions are called in is given to the LLM. So now the model knows the tools that it has, and it decides what and how to use those tools. You're given a direction, and you know that you're given the list of tools. You define those tools for the application to use, and then the LLM decides, okay, now I'm going to use, let's say, a PDF to image converter. Okay, now that I have those images, let me extract the text. Let me contextualize that. Let me make sure that the fields are all correct. Let me make sure that I'm understanding and summarizing the document correctly. So all of those functions and the order that those functions are called in are given to the decision and to the workflow of the LLM to make those decisions on behalf of the developers. And finally, what we're seeing and most excited about is, of course, this notion of agents, where now not only are you orchestrating, not only are you giving away that orchestration, but you have individual autonomous agents running with a purpose, and they come together and can make decisions on which application to invoke, which action to take, which functions to call, and this is really the future of generative AI applications that we're excited about, we're looking forward to. But it's the ability to have an application that kind of makes all those decisions and really compresses the amount of time that it takes to develop an application in the first place. So today, I'm going to bring a demo of a OCR, optical character recognition. And you might say, Kirill, this is boring. Like, we've been doing OCR for 20, 30 years now. Some applications, some software does it better, some doesn't. But why are you going to talk about that? Well, with the power of generative AI and large language models and image language models, we're able to significantly compress the time that it takes to extract data accurately, to handle unstructured data, semi-structured data, and also present it in such a way that they can be consumed, queried, and analyzed by downstream applications. So the demo that I'm showing you today is going to do just that. So let us imagine that we're here and we are working for a home loan application or home loan processing corporation, and we are regularly. Oh, sorry. Let me change the screens here. All right. So going back to the story that I was saying, let us imagine that we are a corporation processing mortgage applications, and we receive mortgage applications that can come and contain structured data, such as the mortgage application form, semi-structured data, and sometimes even unstructured data. So how does that look? Well, it could look something like this. You have a PDF document that has filled out the information that the applicant has filled out the application for. You have very predictable form that you can really hone in and extract data from that form very accurately. But now, mixed into this, we have a driver's license. So now we're talking about like semi-structured data, predictable what we want to get out of it, but maybe not necessarily in the exact format for every single application. And then finally, here we have a little W-2 as well mixed into this. And finally, this is something that I'm very excited about, is handwriting. So handwriting is very unpredictable. Also, in this kind of format, it's open, right? There's very much unstructured. You don't necessarily know or can predict what the data is going to be. In this case, we called this particular note as underwriter's notes, and you can see that it's a number of bullets. They call out some of the pieces or some of the notes about the application itself. But notice also the handwriting itself is difficult. In this case, Raju, who wrote this note, some I's are not dotted, or some I's are slanted, some I's are not. So understanding that, recognizing that, and properly contextualizing it is part of the challenge. But what we're going to do is not only are we going to extract this data, we're going to ask the model to understand the data and then structure it for us, so that we can then use this data to query it, as well as pass it down to the downstream applications for further consumption or analysis. So the model itself, what it does today is, in this case for the demo, let me just refresh real quick. What the application does, or the way we're calling this, we're passing this file, this application form. It's going through the upload. I was told that Wi-Fi was a challenge, so hopefully it will finish. But I'll keep going, as I did this already right before the demonstration. But what we're asking the application to do is actually shown here on the side. But we're saying, hey, extract and save the borrower's personal information, the loan and property information, the borrower's driver's license information, the borrower's W-2 information, run validation and verification of the provided documents, and then also extract any notes found in the document as well. So we're talking about those underwriter notes that are handwritten. So as we go through that, the model then decides, okay, I have a list of functions that are available to me. How am I going to call those functions and in what order? So it really says, okay, the first one that we need to do is PDF to images. So we'll go and run that query against the images. Still uploading. That's all right. We will run those PDF to image conversion. We'll have those images. Now we will classify those documents based on the images that we have. Then we'll go through and extract the data and present the data as an output. So I'm going to, there are a lot of steps, but what happens is you have an output that essentially is able to extract the data from the application with a high degree of accuracy. And think about this. If we were to use a traditional OCR application, or if we were to use kind of a machine learning based approach to this, we would have to show and expose the model to a number of different variations of this document, make sure that it's accurate, train it, and go through that process and make sure and maintain that training and so forth. Here with a LLM function underneath, we're able to accurately extract data, have a confidence score if that data is perhaps not, that the model is not confident on, so we have a human in the loop for review if necessary, and then we can pass that in a structured way downstream for the applications to consume. What's really cool about this is, if you notice here, underwriter's notes, this is the handwriting piece that I showed you earlier. It extracts the necessary bullet points. It has the context of the application in mind. It calls out what's important, what's not, but most importantly, it is downstream, can be passed in a structured format. So we can have at the bottom here, all the way at the bottom, we're going to have essentially a JSON structured summary of those notes being passed down to for consumption. 1 second. So here it is. Pardon the UI is a little bit skewed here, but essentially it will go and take the data and create a JSON that says underwriter insights, and it can put some variables to it. You can classify what structure you want it to follow, but it will extract the values. It will set a strength parameter to it, risk offset, true or not. So we can set this up to be ingested into the downstream applications for use out of a handwritten note. Finally, to close this out, Bedrock enables you to use Bedrock guardrails. So in case that we have PII data, we want to protect some data on the applications, you're able to toggle the guardrails, make the request with guardrails in mind. And notice that for the purpose of this demo, I've ran it already, but essentially it obfuscates the data that we consider PII, or you consider PII as part of your organization. So you can really obfuscate that PII data from the downstream applications or from the users themselves. So you have a upload, the application processes it, extracts it, identifies the PII data, and does not pass it downstream. That is still uploading. Well, no, no worries there. We've ran it earlier. We were ahead of the game here. So, to conclude, we had a home mortgage application with structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. We were able to empower our LLM to leverage the different functions that we have pre-written ahead of time, and then the LLM orchestrated the order in which those functions were executed against the document that was provided. It extracted the data, it processed that data, and most importantly, it made unstructured data into structured data for further consumption downstream in downstream applications. That concludes my demo. To call out some pieces here from a technical standpoint, of course, this is running on Bedrock. We're using 3 different models here. We're using Haiku as that orchestration for that speed of decision. We're using Sonnet for some of the more complex understanding, and we're actually jumping between 3.5 and 3.0, depending on what we're doing here. So we're trying to manage the performance, the cost, the accuracy as part of those decisions. Thank you so much. My name was Kirill Bondar. Please reach out if you have any questions around this demonstration, and enjoy the rest of your day.